I head up accounts for an advertising agency here in Atlanta, handling social media for multiple brands locally, such as Aaron's, Napa, and Cox.
And Crystal?
Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Kessler. I'm an attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia, practicing in employment law, personal injury, as well as some business litigation work. And I'm happy to be here today.
And our expert panelist, Mark Issa.
Hey, my name isn't Mark anymore. It's expert panelist. What I do here is practice law. I've been doing this for about 20 years. I'm born and raised in Atlanta. My social media journey has been quite the experience for me. I appreciate guidance from others and mocking the pros as much as I hope you will do all the things that I've done that I believe worked and maybe teach me something in the near future.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, there we go. So we're going to present. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, here are awesome panelists. Social media platforms. Again, all of these platforms, I mean, they're free. So let's go ahead and take advantage of them, especially for our solo practitioners, those with a very small marketing budget. Use as many as possible. I only focus on Facebook and Instagram. I'm working on my YouTube now. TikTok, I don't think I'm as exciting or fun yet. But I may look into that as well, and we'll present a whole webinar on that as well. And of course, you guys know Twitter and LinkedIn is getting a lot of popularity, but I'm most active, I would say, on Facebook and Instagram. So today we're going to continue discussing our Instagram strategies and marketing tips. So some key points from our sessions 1 and 2, we explained to you guys how to set up an account. And even when we did it the first time, we got a lot of feedback from some attorneys, even some judges that said, can you slow it down a little bit? We're still, not getting it. So in the second part, we went over, did a whole screen recording on how to set up the account, how to pick your username. And I hope those of you that did not have an Instagram, that you guys went ahead and set one up, how to upload content, the hashtags, and how this is a free marketing tool. And we had some awesome questions last week. What if I don't want to market, right? How do I get sophisticated clients? What if I just want to educate? And absolutely, Instagram is there, or all social media platforms, to do whatever it is you want to do with it. Again, it's free, and it is a job. I mean, it is sometimes very difficult because you got to think of a caption, you got to do a post, but it is, what do you want to use it for, right? Who are you speaking to? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to market and get clients? If not, do you want to build your brand, right? Your reputation? If not, do you want to educate, right? And just put information as you're learning it. So it really just depends on what you're using it for. Are you speaking to business owners, clients? And that's gonna determine what type of post you make, what your captions are. Are you gonna be more on the informal, fun side, or are you going to be more just establishing who you are and just put out, all very professional, very strict content? It just depends on how do you want to market yourself. Are you marketing yourself, your law firm? What is your audience demographic composition, right? How do you get more followers? Once you determine that for yourself, what is it that I want to do? If I want to get on social media, a lot of people don't, but if I want to get on social media, what do I want to use it for? That's what you first have to ask yourself, because that's going to determine your username, your bio, right? Your content, your captions, who do you follow, etc. Now, for my social media, I just, I wanted to just be myself. I did want to market. We have we don't spend money on marketing at all. So we do get a lot of clients from our social media pages, and I still want to be very authentic. I did not want to keep it strictly law, more posts that are engaging, that are entertaining, but that are also educational. So, some tips and tricks, it's to focus, and Rodolfo says this all the time, focus on the quality more so than quantity. You don't want to overwhelm, continue to post things, and the photo doesn't look right. The caption is off. Everything has to be on brand, and everything has to have a specific purpose for it, right? Like, do you want to entertain? Do you want to educate? Or do you just want to make yourself, I guess, the expert in your field or advertise your law firm? Make sure that your images are clear, right? I think that's when I look at a page and their images are not clear, or it's all about your brand. So you definitely want to make sure you do that. Post interactive content. In the caption, if you ask questions, that leads your audience to be more engaged, and post accordingly to your expertise, right? In fact, not only do I advertise the law firm, but Crystal, who's the CEO of our nonprofit, the Love Project, we've been able to raise almost $200,000 for the nonprofit on social media alone. Right? So this is such a great marketing tool. And I feel like I got on it a little bit late, right? But it doesn't matter when you start, you definitely use it to your advantage. So again, it's an essential way to reach your customers of all ages. You can connect with your target audience, whether it's your law firm, your business, whether you have a book that you're selling, whether you have a nonprofit, whether you have, anything that you have, you can definitely market it on social media. And you can get clients, or you can build your reputation. Let's see. So now we're going to bring in our expert speaker, and we're going to discuss about mastering social media. We did present his Instagram as an example last week, so we're very excited to have him on board and kind of show us how he got here.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hoping everyone can hear me and I'm not just talking, the mute button's on. When we talk about mastering social media, one of the biggest things you have to be prepared to do is move in the moment. It's very easy to talk about plans and strategies and expectations, but the reality is social media is moving constantly, and it's not a target that you're trying to hit. You're just trying to be on the map, essentially. So moving through these slides, and I don't think I have control over them. Here is my social media. And one of the things that we'll come back to this that I want to show you that I've done, because talking about social media and talking about what we do is really best through examples. It's not best through just ideals and content marketing of things that don't work for everybody, because the reality is something's going to work for you that doesn't work for me. And you have a different audience, you have a different group of people you're speaking to, no matter what your area of practice is. And so what we're going to try to do is overlap the discussion of where your personal social media should be heading alongside your practice. This is an idea of marketing. So going into the next slide, excuse me, we're going to talk about monitoring the ideas of creating goals that target your audience. Okay. And so the way that I think we really monitor the activity before you launch a post is you want to see what people are responding to in your post. All right. There's times, absolutely, there are times that research is going to show that are best for posting on different platforms. So look into that and adhere to those small parameters, but also recognize that your crowd and the people who follow you might be doing different things at different times. And don't be afraid to adjust. I mean, the rules around social media are general, just as they are for the people who are on social media, and that number is in the billions. So before you try to adhere to just what the norm is, think specific to your crowd. I did something this year. I decided I was going to learn how to play the piano, and it was part of what I did late at night when I couldn't sleep. And lo and behold, I would post those things at night, only to find that other people up late at night doing creative things, or maybe making music, writing music, doing things of that nature or the other, are also responding and engaging. So at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I'm getting messages, private messages. I'm getting engagement from folks in those hours who are telling me exactly what they're doing. So when I bounce back just a little bit to creating the goals that target your audience, I mean, is very, very simply put. I think Pamela spoke about it just recently and said, what do you want to do with your social media? Do you want to provide information? Do you want to entertain people? Do you want to connect with people in your circle? Create a goal. And it doesn't have to just be one. I set out a goal about a year ago, and I said, I want to reach out to my high school friends and families that I haven't talked to in a long time, because one of the best tests of your own marketing, your current marketing and branding is, does everybody you know exactly what you do? Do people who know you say, Pamela does immigration law? So if anything immigration comes up, I'm going to reach out to Pamela. Does someone who knows Rodolfo say, Rodolfo's in marketing and I need to call him if I have any questions about branding and marketing, and so on and so forth? Ask yourself that question. And one of the most humbling moments and sometimes disappointing moments is to say, darn, one of my friends used another lawyer for something I do. It might upset you a little bit, but the reality is that's a look in the mirror to say, everybody doesn't even know what I do. And I need to make that clear, because if my goal is to market, if my goal is to help people, then I want to make myself the key figure that they reach out to when something happens. And so what I thought about a year ago was, do all my friends that I went to high school with right here in Atlanta, Georgia, I grew up in DeKalb County, so I have an advantage there. I said, do all of them know what I do? And a way to turn that around, or the way that I tried to turn that around, was to reach back out to my high school friends through either Facebook or Instagram. I looked to see where they were most active and start engaging. All right. And this doesn't have to be insincere. Don't post your website, your email address, or your law firm picture everywhere there's a post from your high school friends. Engage in them sincerely and honestly. And you know what? It will come up. What did Mark end up doing with his life? What did such and such end up doing with their life? And most of them know. There are tremors around it, but they don't know specifically. The unique practice of law is that there are so many areas to be a lawyer, but there are so many people who want to be specializing. They want to be specialists in a specific area. And hopefully that defines you, because the more specific your practice area, the easier it is to make known your brand. So that was a goal that I set out about a year ago. I learned what they were doing. I learned where they were communicating, and it wasn't foreign to me. I knew it was on Facebook, but what were they talking about? You know, one of the things Facebook does that makes this very easy, I think, is they remind you when somebody's birthday is. And you get those notifications in the morning that say you have 7, 15, 86 friends with birthdays today. And guess what you can do very simply and easily is type the words, happy birthday. That's very simple, a very easy engagement, and a way to get back on their map. And you never know what their interest is or what their concern is. So as I was saying, create a goal that targets your audience or the audience you're trying to reach. And it can be as simple as the one that I just made an example of, or many others. They all exist. So when people start noticing you engaging in their social media, whichever one it is, it's like a phone call, it's like a text message, they're going to reciprocate. And whether it's a happy birthday back, or they come visit your page, or they come see your site, all of a sudden that engagement has now returned on its investment. And the reason why I say that is because you want to be top of mind when something happens. And a way for that to begin is for them to start visiting your page, following you, looking for you when something legal happens. And recognize that all these different social media outlets provide for a different voice. LinkedIn is not going to communicate the same way that Instagram does. It's not going to communicate the same way that Facebook does. When I think of Instagram, sometimes I think of a picture book. I want to be excited about pictures or excited about a short video. When I think about TikTok, I think about something incredibly creative that deals with videos, and so on and so forth. So identify the social media markets, identify the one that you want to be most active in and most comfortable in. And sometimes you just tweak your message a little bit. Look at what people are reacting to. Your clients are reacting to something that you do. Call them, text them, email them, send them a letter, whatever it's going to be. Some people still send out bulletins once a month. Some people still send out emails once a month talking about what their firms are doing. And you notice the ones that unsubscribe, you know that there are people who throw the papers away, and you know that there are people who respond right away. It's the same thing with social media. People are responding to what you're posting, and they're responding in time. Don't take it as rejection if you don't get as many likes as you want or as many likes as the next person. Your crowd may not be all about the heart. They might instead go right from your picture to sending you a message. I get a lot of messages, dozens of messages a day about the posts that I put out. I don't have as many likes as the next person, or maybe I have more than the person before. But the reality is, my goal is engagements, to communicate with people and to remain top of mind. So what I did was I picked a few things that I really enjoyed, things that I saw people responding to. And I have hobbies that people respond to. I have things that I do every day that people respond to, albeit my work, albeit my work ethic, the things that I'm interested in, whatever it might be, people are interested in them slightly or slightly more than that. It doesn't matter the scale. Again, my idea is engagements. My idea is continuing to remain top of mind. So what are you doing? Are you building a train set? Are you remodeling your closet? Are you into do-it-yourself projects? Are those some of the things that you do on the side? All the while, part of your profession is potentially advising people on their rights in the constitutional realm. So you might take somebody through a walk on how to get carrying a concealed weapons permit here in Georgia. These are different things that people don't see all the time, but through your experience and through your expertise, providing information along with entertainment can increase your engagements, all while you're already doing it anyway. All right. And the cost of these things is oftentimes just your cell phone that you're carrying around with you anyway. It doesn't take tens of thousands of dollars of cameras. It doesn't take an editor on board all the time. It doesn't take a writer on board all the time in order for you to do these things. It can get there by all means. It absolutely can. But to begin, just start with your cell phone. Start with a purpose. Start with some intention. Whatever it is that interests you and interests your group, you will immediately know through engagements. And I'm not talking about immediacy as in, the next 5 minutes after I post something. You'll have to compare them. So yes, the word data is important. And I'm sure Rodolfo is going to talk a lot more about data and analytics, but that is very, very important. But what's more important than any of that, okay? More important than any of those things is listen to what your users are saying. They're going to be telling you their interests, not only because of what they're following, what they're involved in, and what they're engaged in, but also with what you're promoting and what you're putting in front of them. I did another project, and I want you guys to experience it in the way I did and use it for yourself as an example. I was redoing my website, and I would post samples of my website up in my story. And if you're familiar already with Instagram stories, they're temporary, they pop up, they go away. So I'm posting pages on my story of where I'm thinking my page is going to go. And it wasn't until I posted a page with an error on it that I realized people were watching. There was a mistake on one of the pages. It was pretty obvious. It posted out of the 5 pages. I was like, damn, nobody's paying any attention to any of this stuff. And then all of a sudden, my one mistake, boom, message. You made a mistake here. Fix this, fix that. Hey, it humbled me. And that was a great thing. But more importantly, it let me know people were watching. People were even interested in what I was presenting. So guess what I did with those 36 people who sent me messages within the first 24 hours that I made a mistake? I used them as kind of a soundboard on some of the things I'm going to post. And those 36 people became 122 people who repost a lot of my pages, who repost a lot of my stories. And that is how the web continues to spread. And we talk about contacting people, these touches and these 7 degrees of separation or whatever the number might be today. The reality is social media spreads so quickly. And when a friend, a family member, or somebody is sharing your page, simply because you were humble enough to ask them what they thought about it, or you took their advice on it, realize that you're now engaging in more people, and more people are now engaging in what you do. So what you want after that is a very clear and concise and concrete, of course, the words we're using in our post here, in our presentation, posts. I think about my post as something that's going to remain permanently on my page. So someone can come back after they've hired me a year later and look at the post that I've shared and say, Mark is into cooking. Mark is into fast cars. Oh, Mark is an attorney who does criminal defense and personal injury. And his law firm is not just about him. It's about his employees. It's about his associates, his partners, and those that work with him. That's what I hope people go back and see when they go and see my pages. Am I successful? I don't know, but I keep trying. And so continue to create clear and concrete posts for your page. But one thing that I want you to know, it's okay to make mistakes. It is okay to make mistakes in your posts, because guess what? You can take that thing down just that quickly. And the reality is, the more you try, the more you'll find out what works. This is an easy medium, an easy vehicle to talk to people quickly and move right through what you believe they're interested in to what you find out they're actually interested in. Social media is a business plan. So when you launch something, you want to know what's next. Okay. Just posting something about your capabilities as a law firm or as an attorney is great. But what happens when there's a reaction to that post? When someone sends you a direct message or a private message after you've posted something asking for those who are interested in your practice or who might need your services, when you've done that, what are you going to do next? Are you going to respond to the direct message? Is there someone in your office who's going to respond to the message? Is a contract going out immediately? You need to know what the next steps are always, so that you don't fall on your face after you've finally gotten some return on your investment of your time. So make sure that you have a plan in place for whatever it is. Even if it's tell me what you think about it. And that's a very sincere post. Hey, friends, tell me what you think about this post of me and my cooking. Mark specifically is all into making food from scratch. So I call some of my friends and I say, hey man, does this work? Does this fit? What do you think about this? And people will tell you, they absolutely will. And then when you try and you recognize whether that's accurate information or inaccurate information, or whether following your gut was the right thing to do and deleting the post or keeping it up, you will know by its purpose, because you will have a plan set out. And it's very easy to do, okay? It can be just increase my followers or go back to my high school class and make sure they all know what I'm doing. It doesn't have to be incredibly complex. We talk about trying to make social media a part of our week, a part of our day. Some people make it a part of every day. You can schedule your posts through many different programs that will allow you to schedule posts daily, weekly, or monthly. I will tell you that one of the, I guess that is me. I will tell you that one of the unique things about social media is also one of the items that keeps you on your toes. I think planning daily is necessary, to be honest with you. I think it's necessary that you plan your day's posts. A weekly plan, I think, is also great. You can have on a weekly plan what to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's difficult to plan monthly because things come up and changes occur. So although your month can have an idea of what you're going to post on each one of those days, but think about the things that change in the moment and mold to the interests of your crowd and the law. I mean, think now, just in the news, you've got the Rittenhouse trials, you've got Ahmaud Arbery, and you've got Steve Bannon turning himself in. Well, what do you also have? You have Thanksgiving coming up. So we know that Thanksgiving's coming up, and there are going to be posts about Thanksgiving and giving thanks and maybe giving things to homeless shelters and so on and so forth, and what you're doing for the community. But being prepared to pivot for items such as the trials that are in the news, I think, are important. Tracking your performance is as important as anything you do. You set out a goal, you create an ability to mark the data, ideally track your performances on everything you're doing, and then keep going at them. Okay. And when we talk about quality over quantity, I think it's absolutely correct to focus on the quality of your post and what you're putting in front of people, but don't be afraid to create more campaigns than just one. So essentially, if you're taking somebody through a campaign of I'm building a train set, or I'm trying to lose 50 pounds starting January 1, whatever it is, you have to take people through the experience to make it interesting enough for those to follow you. And when you're thinking about tracking your performance in either a weight loss program or creating a train set or whatever it might be, I mean, these examples could go on and on and on. You want to track your performance not only in finishing that train set, but also seeing how people are engaging with the performance of your marketing plan and your social media. There's really a strong emphasis throughout social media on things like analytics and your strategy. I do suggest that you get some guidance here, okay? Because strategies and analytics with regards to social media, some of the items can be foreign, some of the concepts can be foreign. And I don't mean the kind of foreign where you need an expert witness to come in and explain to people a complex matter and make it, into layman's terms. I mean, just enough to understand how to position things, and then you run with it. And you run with it and you go as far as you can until you either run out of ideas or you run out of opportunities. And I can tell you, both of those things come with infinite possibility just by searching social media yourself. So doing your own research can happen just on social media. And I'll tell you, don't be afraid to copy people who are doing well. All right. You do things your way. That makes it your own. And the concept can be exactly the same. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. What I've noticed, and I know a lot of people always ask me, what is this giving you, Mark? Why are you doing this? Well, the return on my investment has been great. Okay. And we're not talking about just the cost of my cell phone. I mean, the time also involved. I can't compete with the moguls who are out there marketing and increasing our pay-per-clicks to $400 and $500 sometimes, or each acquisition can be $900 and $1,200 every time somebody calls your office and you realize it's the wrong number, or you realize it's not the right case. By the time you sign a client, it's cost you $1,200 or $1,500. I can't compete with that, and nor do I want to. All right. I set out a goal for myself to not get into that world. Instead, what I've done is I've created my own. And by doing that, I've not only been able to control the time that I invest into my social media. I do all my recordings on one day, Tuesday afternoons, and then we do our editing on them on Thursdays or Fridays, depending on the schedule. And so that they're all ready to run up for the following week. I do that. That's my time investment each week into my social media. And as I'm trying to do new things like create a new website and redo our website, I'm slowly transitioning through some of the changes. And I can tell you one thing, as it relates to, just social media and the ability to reach people and communicate with people and engage with people, not only the questions that I'm asked lead to potential clients and cases, it also gives me the opportunity to refer cases to other attorneys. I cannot count the number of family law questions I get or immigration questions I get. And it almost starts to beg the question of, are you just the person who's bringing in the cases and sending them out? No, at this stage, for me, where my goal is set is for me to continue being a source for everyone who has questions on legal issues that are within my circle and hopefully beyond. Hope I didn't let you down, Pamela. That's all I got right now. I know we're sticking around for questions, so if there are some very specific questions, we'll be here for those too.
Absolutely. And I want to go back to your, let me see if I can. Sorry, guys, I'm not tech. I want to go back to your page.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark.
So what I hoped here was, and one of the things that I guess by the end of it, you can see all the things I'm interested in here. If you just took a snapshot of my social media, and I mean, it's not gonna help if I explain every one of them, but just in this screenshot, you can see my interests are, cooking, I race cars, and lawyering. And so with all these things, I hope that when someone goes to my page, they see those things at a brief glance, and then if they're interested, go a little further. All right, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're perfectly fine. And I mean, 64,000 followers, that is a lot. Like, that's just a lot of work. And you guys will get there, right? Just, focus on just growing the following. And he mentioned something that was so good, is to get people to reshare. So your family, right? Like your friends say, hey, can you please reshare this? Because that's how you expand yourself to a wider audience. And if your goal is to market, you want to have as many followers as possible, because somebody will know of a case in whatever area you practice, and you have to make sure that you're the one that they contact, right? And you got to establish yourself as being dominant in that area. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. I want to look at some of these questions that have come in, and then we're going to have Rodolfo pick up in the next slide. Okay, so they're learning how to do social media, requesting some information. Let's see about the Q&A. All right, so the first question, and maybe Mark, you could answer this. Someone just asked, I'm trying to build my followers on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I often see posts where the hashtags are not listed in the post caption, but instead in the comment section by the person who made the original post. I've seen accounts with thousands of followers who do this often. And actually, let's hold off on that question because Rodolfo is going to talk about hashtags in just a minute. Let's see, the next question. I think it's bizarre to look at legal services on social media, but on the contrary, it is the modern day equivalent to having pictures of your family and friends in your office. People want to get to know the person they are working with, and they can do that in social media. That is such a good, that's more of a comment more than a question, but that's exactly it, right? Like they want to know who you are, who they're dealing with, and if they feel comfortable, that can definitely transform into a relationship, longstanding relationship, and into clients. And go ahead.
Yeah,
With
Pamela, I think that was a response to a question that somebody said that it's bizarre to anyone else that anyone with a serious legal issue would look for a lawyer on IG.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're forgetting, just as easily as it was a commonplace, was the yellow pages used to be a thing, and they're not anymore. So where do we go looking for information? Oftentimes, I think most of us would suggest Google is an answer to many of those questions, and that's why they've been able to dominate in the market so much, not only financially but by way of information. We're walking androids. When someone asks us for a question, we Google it. So we're part computer and robot ourselves. But social media is where a lot of people are searching not only for information, but they're being entertained. So if they're already on Instagram, if they're already on one of these platforms, and then info comes across by way of lessons, by way of teaching, one way or the other, it almost becomes an inadvertent advertisement or marketing. It's not. We know it's on purpose, but the reality is Instagram is creating, and I don't know as much as just singling out Instagram, but Instagram is absolutely creating a vehicle for people who are looking for information and services as well. I mean, there's a reason why Coca-Cola is advertising on Instagram. There's a reason why all these large companies are advertising there as well. And I think it's because it's a very successful outlet.
Yep. And also to add on to that is keep in mind that social media is a platform where people choose to share parts of their lives. Sometimes people face tough issues. Sometimes people even share pictures of, wow, I can't believe I survived this car accident. Or I'm so lucky to have gone through this. Some people share a sort of like, listen, my mother is going through this particular medical thing. I'm having so many issues with raising up insurance, help. And they're looking for guidance. And that's sometimes where your network can sort of say, look, I know of this attorney. It might be worth a consultation. So something as simple as that, where it's a platform that people are sharing part of themselves and sharing their experiences, sharing their adversities, or perhaps issues that they're going through where they may need legal representation. It's an opportunity for your own network to refer you to them.
I mean, everything can be found on social media. I remember chatting with someone and they're like, do you know a bilingual wills attorney? So I posted it on my Facebook. That took a little bit of time. So I went on a hashtag, bilingual wills. I mean, you can hashtag anything. Just this morning, I hashtag mobile dog groomer in Atlanta, and I found somebody because, when you go on Google, sometimes you call them, they're busy. They don't answer, that number is disconnected. So, social media gives you like real time, when did they last post this? When did they last use this hashtag? Right. So I think it does wonders, and you can quickly find someone because people want quickness, right?
Yeah, and also is direct access to it. Think about your website, right? In your website, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have a contact form. Fill this out. Here's your name, your email address. If you have their social media, you are instantly connected with them and interacting with them without having to go through all of that. And to Pamela's point, that's what kind of people are seeking out.
We have two more questions, and then we're going to go to Rodolfo's presentation. And maybe one of you guys can take this. My firm specializes in corporate law. Any suggestions on how to hone into my target market of business and business owners? Thanks. Who would like to answer that? And Crystal did provide an answer, but just for everyone that's tuning in and that can't see it.
I can take it. So
I
to
thought
piggyback
Crystal
a
was
little bit
unmuted.
off of what Mark was saying and what Pamela was saying, look up the hashtag corporate law. Something as simple as that, corporate law Atlanta or corporate law, and see what it kind of content is out there. And then start looking at it and say, wow, how does this apply to me? Also start defining who your target or your desired audience is. Once you do that, start figuring out why would they need me? Why is it important for them to hire a corporate like law attorney? Or why is it that they would need or they would seek out somebody like me? And then start answering those questions, start creating content that informs and that actually is substantial or might be helpful to your particular audience, and you will be surprised how quickly you can grow. Also, start following your desired audience. Example, if you go target, I don't know, small grocery stores, start looking out for them. You know, start looking up their locations, start going out there and following it, and you also will be surprised how quickly sometimes that algorithm begins to grow, and you will start getting people to your site, and you will also get people that you may need to target as well.
And I think considering the synonym to your word audience is customers. Think about who your customers are and not just your audience. You know, if it's restaurants, if it's small grocery stores, whomever it might be that could use your services, think about those people and just seeing their circles, just seeing who they are following or what groups they're part of could help you start to market directly to the people who need your business, your services anyway.
Yeah, and the best way to start developing who those people are and sort of getting an idea of who those people are is look at your caseload. I mean, look at the work that you've been doing. Is there a consistent industry that you find you get a client from often? Is there a specific issue that is industry specific that you always get when you get a certain industry? Start there. And if you understand that that is an industry issue that you handle, then go ahead and target that issue, target that industry, figure out about that industry some more. I mean, I've done the same thing with trucking industry, you know, from the employment perspective and how they handle that. So when it comes to that, I follow different trucking groups, you know, small groups, Amazons, the big ones, the small ones, you know, all in between. And then, you know, look at what their pages are doing, look at what issues that they're bringing up, look at what jokes that they're making. I mean, all of those types of things, because everything doesn't have to be specifically law related. It has to be relatable. Because that's what you want, is you want them to engage with you. And just remember that these businesses, they're businesses on paper, but they're people in real life. And so make sure that you understand that you have to be relatable to the people that you're reaching out to in those industries. And so it may be just like you do an interview for a job, right? I mean, you kind of go look up the firm and, you know, who you're going to interview with and the things that they like and the things that they do, and try to be relatable in your interview. You're going to do the same thing here. You're going to look at the industries you're interested in, the industries that you work with, the work that you do, and you're going to make sure that you engage in that same way with them such that they want to engage back.
The next question is, I want to be active on IG, but every time I sit down, it seems daunting and overwhelming. Trust me, I know. And sometimes a bit insincere, especially when you're struggling. How do I hire Rodolfo? Asking for a friend, full disclosure, I am the friend. The friend is me. That is hilarious. That is so funny. We are working on something with Rodolfo to come back in December. And really do like more of an interactive working lunch where we'll pull up your social media and sort of go from there. And Rodolfo will then offer some amazing packages for our lawyers and give us a discount. Let's see. So we'll get to that as well. And the last question that I'm going to ask before Rodolfo presents, it's any safety and security concerns for women, men, lawyers?
I would say yes. I mean, there always is that. Remember that once something is on social media, it is there, or once it's just out there on the internet, it will be there. Be mindful of when you're sharing your location. I would also tell you to be mindful whenever coming across as being perhaps a little too forthcoming with information, because you have to think about it that way. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people often say, put their location as home, and it's literally their address. because they have their phone set up to put their exact location or exactly where they are. A good rule of thumb, especially if you are going to start to grow an audience and you're going to share a lot more of yourself, try to put a little delay, or it's not necessarily a really, you don't need to share immediately. So I would just tell you to be mindful, just be careful. I mean, like I said, with anything, you are choosing and you are putting a lot of information out there that unfortunately a lot of people will be looking out for to take advantage of.
Yeah, I usually post a location. If I'm going to post a location with that location included, a lot of times I'm posting after I already left that location, so that it's sort of a past issue for me, and it's not sort of in a direct lineage of someone following me, in real time. So be
Also,
mindful.
something else too, especially with your industry, be careful of any documents that you take a picture of. Sometimes you may have your desk on there. Trust me, people will look for it, because there's a lot of predatory people out there that are specifically maybe sometimes following your page because they have a particular con or scheme or something like that. They look for firms, and they keep an eye out for things like that. So just be mindful.
So not to take all that negative information or fear or daunting information and make this sound like, all right, something you should run away from. I think what that should do is impress upon you the need to plan more. If a part of your posts are travel and experiences, then all these pictures you're taking in a restaurant with the beautiful setting in the background and your credit card on the table, you'll realize if you've taken that photo and saved it as part of your travel posts later on that you didn't need to post that photo right then, or you needed to blur something out or do something to continue using the image, but not use it in a way that threatens you. So, what I've done also on my phone is I've created folders, travel, food, courthouses, because we're in so many courthouses per month while others are never even walking in the building. I feel like that's been something that's been creating a lot of engagements for me. Nonetheless, create these different folders within your phone and just save the images to those folders so that when you're sitting up going, man, what am I going to post? You look at your plan and you look in your phone and you see all these images that fit that plan. And although it wasn't in the moment, it wasn't right then and right there, you had an opportunity to make that image better and more impactful. If you're going to a concert and you want everyone to know you're going to the Rolling Stones in Fort Lauderdale next week, right before Thanksgiving, right before they probably perform their absolute last performance they're ever going to do. Well, guess what? That's likely going to go on your story, or it's going to be an experience, and you plan for it. And you say, you know what, next week I'll be in Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to go ahead and film my flights there, my friends going with me, my drinks before the show or my meal before the show, my crazy friends and I screaming from the back or the front of the show, a moment of just what's being performed. And then when I get home that night, hopefully 1, 2, 3 in the morning with the biggest smile on my face and saying, this is why I do what I do every day. I work hard for these moments. So part of your plan can be encompassed into doing something live, but you've planned for it. So you're prepared not to have credit card numbers or social security numbers or anything crazy that might have been referenced before. You're more prepared for that. I think that a lot of the times when we notice those items, misspellings, documents that shouldn't be on social media, it's someone trying to do something in the moment that they're scrambling to gather and meet some social media expectation. Reality is you create the expectation. You also create that hasteful moment when you don't plan. So plan as much as you can. Sorry, I don't want to get in the way of whatever's coming up next.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Rodolfo.
Okay, hold on. All right. So one of the things is the value of Instagram Insights. Now, Instagram provides you with a lot of information, and that information can be used to guide your posts. To what Mark was speaking about earlier, your audience is going to begin to let you know and guide you what kind of content it is that they want to receive from you. You'll start seeing how many posts are being shared, how many comments you're getting from, how many stories you're getting, reposted. So all of those different things will begin to add to what they call like your algorithm. And your algorithm will start to go ahead and start targeting you to a particular audience, and your audience will also be targeted to you as well. Now, all these particular insights will let you know, like, who is my audience? Where are they coming from? What are they doing? What are they interested in? So all of these different things are things that you can use to go ahead and create content that will particularly feed your audience needs and also begin to grow it. Now, to what Mark was talking about earlier in regards to planning posts, it's simple. Just think about it, just regular days, something as a Motivation Monday. Example today. Today is National Entrepreneur Day. Think about how many people with sole practices, or perhaps somebody that inspired you to become wherever you are right now. Just take a little bit of time out, post a picture and say thank you, or I'm grateful for being able to do this, or being an entrepreneur has allowed me to change a lot of somebody's lives. Something as simple as that, posting it and doing a hashtag can amplify your audience that may be looking for that kind of comment. And also, because it's relatable to what's going on today, it will begin to bump your algorithm up a little bit more and will begin putting you posting a little bit more into regards to suggestions. So all those things that you can go ahead and take in and plan, you can develop content particularly for that, and then it becomes just muscle memory. It's something that you already know that you have to organize for it. Example, like Tip Tuesdays. If you do a lot of work, let's say, I don't know, Mark just was speaking about courthouses. Do people know where to park when they go to a courthouse? Do they know that they even have to pay to park? You know, those little things like that that can help somebody's experience a little, or make it a little bit easier, can help them out so much. And you can get a lot more reposts, it can get a lot more shares, it can get a lot more likes, and goes a lot more into engagement, which is what intentionally you are trying to do. Now, in regards to doing those posts, you also have hashtags. Hashtags are almost like a quick tap. Think about it this way. Think about it as something as simple as when you are typing an email and you're putting somebody's address, or somebody's address is already on the email, and you just click on it and automatically opens up the message. That's what hashtags are in a social media platform. You can even Google hashtags now. So now it's something as simple as that. If you're in a social media platform and you're looking for something specifically, you can look up for it in a hashtag. Now, you have to keep in mind that hashtags are a little bit different. Hashtags are defined by the pound sign or the number sign or the hashtag sign that you see right there. And they're all put together. It's just one whole word. And that's just to make it easy for people to quick tab into whatever it is kind of content that they're looking for. Now, something that may help you is start looking at popular hashtags that relate to your field or your particular industry or practice. I know that there was a question in regards to somebody saying, I see that somebody goes and puts the hashtag on comments rather than the caption. That is a little bit of a hack that sometimes helps your algorithm get bumped up, because if you're using hashtags as a comment, it kind of goes in towards engagement and doesn't go against your post. That might get a little bit too technical, but it's just a use for you to get in front of more eyes. Now, you may think, well, why are hashtags important? I want you to look at the top one, lawyer. That has 4.1 million posts on Instagram. Now, that's great, but what if I'm using the word attorney? That bumps you down 3 million posts. So that means that you are limiting your audience right there and then by 3 million. Now, that doesn't mean that 3 million people will get to see it, but that means that 3 million people have posted more about lawyer than they have about attorney. So that helps when people are researching you. That helps a lot more with your algorithm. It helps more with your suggestions, and also helps people get to you a little bit quicker. Now, if you look at number 1 versus number 2, lawyer versus lawyers in plural, that single letter also has a 3 million impact. Just using the singular form of lawyer opens you up to 3 million more than perhaps using the plural form. So that's almost the equivalent of somebody putting the hashtag lawyer life. Lawyer life has almost about the same amount of posts as lawyers. So think about it, like people don't even really think about the hashtag lawyer life or putting that in front of their post. But something as simple as that can open up your audience to what Mark was saying earlier, to other colleagues, to people that may say, hey, you know what, this person, I have this case that this person may need. So all of those things like that help your algorithm, help your audience, and help your engagement. Now, in regards to content, a lot of questions can be found on Google. And these are the most popular questions that people use when looking up for lawyers on Google, what lawyers do. My favorite, or the most interesting one that I found, was how lawyers take notes. I have no idea. I don't know why people are looking for this. I mean, I don't know if it's an interesting way that you guys particularly take notes, but think about it. If you have a way to do it, share it. It may help a lot of people out, and it might create a lot of engagement and creates a lot of reposts. You know, a lot of people think about something as simple as TikTok, and they think about it as, oh, it's just silly dances. But TikTok is quickly becoming a very informative platform. Just the other day, it went viral that somebody was changing the way that they use paper clips. That if you fold a paper clip a certain way, when you put it on a paper, it turns to a heart. That got like it went viral. So those little things like that that you may find or that you may think are kind of niche to you, it's a lot of things that people share and a lot of things that people are interested in. So something as simple as how you take a note might be very helpful to maybe other lawyers or people that are just maybe even looking into going into law. Now, all of these questions can be used in order to develop content that you are putting and that you're posting up. So think about that, keep that in mind whenever you're planning to do posts. Now, here are also common terms that people look for on Google when looking out for lawyers, right? Lawyers for child custody, free consultation. Is there a payment plan? That's interesting. If you do offer payment plans, people sometimes may not hire a lawyer because they feel like, you know what, it's too expensive. It's too much of a hassle. But if you offer a free consultation, make sure that you're putting that out there as well, and that you're inviting people to engage with you in that way, and you're making yourself a little bit more accessible if you offer something as a payment plan.
Now, we've talked a lot about different ways to post, different information to post, things of that nature. And so the next thing we want to talk about is going live. Now, we talked about this a little bit in one of our earlier sessions with regards to going live. But when you go in live, one of the things that you want to make sure you do is you have an idea of what you want to talk about, right? And so one of the things that we definitely want to do if we want to go live is, number one, make sure that you've planned it, right? This should be a planned event. Make sure your audience knows that you're coming, you're going live. Here's the topic. Here's what we're going to do. I know Pam has done it a couple of times very successfully where she's, you know, hey guys, for 30 minutes of my time, I'm going live. I'm answering all, you know, immigration questions. You can come into the live, you can interact. Those are always great ways to capture your audience, to capture them in real time, to answer some questions about your practice, what you do, you know, and connect directly with your users. It's also a great way to share urgent or important news, right? If you're at the courthouse and you've been following, you know, the different trials and things like that, and hey, we're going live right now. We're right outside the courthouse. This is what just happened. Here's where we are, and giving it from your perspective. I mean, you really can become the media. When it comes to going live. And again, it's an excellent way to communicate with your followers in real time. And I know we're running out of time a little bit, so I'm going to rush through it. You can head to the next slide, Rodolfo. And so last but not least, you know, I know you guys are going to get a very in-depth ethics discussion in next week's part 4, but I do just want to remind you guys that when you are interacting on social media, just be mindful of, again, attorney-client privilege, breaching the confidentiality and direct communication with clients. Of course, if they reach out to you, if they've sent you some, you know, a white flag asking for help, you know, you have every right to sort of communicate with them in that way, but just be mindful of how you're doing it and when you're doing it, and just be mindful of the rules. Of course, ethic rules 7 is the one that you want to sort of concentrate on. But one of the other things is I know over the course of the 3 parts, we've had questions about whether or not, you know, it's okay to do it this way, whether or not, you know, social media is really for you and sort of feeling daunting, especially in consideration of the rules. And so I want you to guys just to make note of this comment that is in the professional conduct rules. And it says, subject to the requirements, of course, and skip down a little bit, the public needs to receive information concerning their legal rights, and the availability of legal services has been consistently recognized as a basis for permitting direct communication, since this type of communication may often be the best and most effective means of informing. So long as this stream of information flows cleanly, it will be permitted to flow freely. And so just be mindful that, ultimately the State Bar does want us to communicate with the community and to make sure that they know the services that we provide and have access to the information that they need that can best suit the community at large. And so that is really our duty. We are a service industry, and it is for us, we're in a position to serve as we should. And so just be okay and open to sharing that information such that you are doing your part in this field. So thank you guys.
So much, Crystal. And Crystal, hopefully she'll be back with us when we do our ethics. We're going to have it with the attorney for the State Bar. So that's going to be a great presentation, November 30th. Let's see, do we have our question for the trivia? Sheila, let me know whenever that's, oh, there it is. What famous Atlanta attorney has a replica of his office exhibited in the lobby of the State Bar of Georgia headquarters? That's a hard one. What famous Atlanta attorney has a, oh, Bobby Jones? I don't even know. Woodrow Wilson, let's see. Okay, what famous Atlanta attorney has a replica of his office exhibited in the lobby of the State Bar of Georgia headquarters? Nope. Do any of my panelists know this? I don't know. But I'm so glad that you guys join us. If you do know the answer, put it on the chat. There is a prize. Google may know. Or no, I don't think we'll find that on Instagram. That's pretty
All right, I'm like hashtag it. Let's see.
But we're so glad that you guys tuned in. Whatever we can do to help you in this process, let us know. I'm waiting to see if someone will get this answer, because now I want to know. Oh, wait a minute. She said yes. Somebody said it earlier. Is it?
Is it Bubba or is it?
Right. Is it Bubba? Is it Woodrow? All right, Sheila, we're waiting on you to let us know who the winner is for
I
today's
think one thing
Yes.
you should leave folks with as well is, as they're creating and developing their social media, getting with friends of theirs who may also be attorneys or who may not be attorneys, to get together and put some of their campaigns, just that align with one another and push together. They say raising tides, high tides raise all ships. So it won't hurt if you have friends in the community who are willing to work with you in this effort. There, as you saw, there were millions of posts with hashtags attorney. To be noticed as the one is going to require a lot of momentum and a lot of push. So keeping those things, kind of your allies by your side, and putting these kinds of campaigns together can help you as well. There are, over 50 people. That's surely over 100,000 connections just in those 50 people there who can put together one campaign if you wanted to, no matter how it presents, and can reach a pretty large crowd.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for staying. Hold on, Sheila, is the answer Woodrow Wilson? Because if so, let's see. I see John as the first one that gave
John
that
Long.
answer. Yeah.
Yep.
So just
John Long.
FYI. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We've kept you way past. Oh, John said, I'm pretty sure I was correct. There you go. That's the attitude, John. Confidence. Let's go. Well, if you guys don't have any, I'll stay around if anybody has any questions. If not, we're going to close out the presentation. Thank you guys so much for being here. You have a good one.